Now that summer is finally here, a lot of you are probably already planning or already packing for a summer vacation, which sounds like pure fun, but for a lot of us dog owners, it could be kind of stressful and sad to leave your dog behind and wondering what to do with them when you're away and having all that fun. You might think that leaving your dog behind for even like a weekend has to be this super sad and dramatic thing where your dog has to be missing you the entire time and just super sad, but this isn't true if you do the right preparations. Mochi's tails. Before we do any preparation work directly with the dog, you have to consider all the options on where your dog can go while you go on vacation. I personally think that it's always the best idea to have your dog stay with like a family member or a friend of yours that your dog is already familiar with, and have your dog stay with them at their home, or maybe even have that friend or family member come over to your house to watch your dog there. If your dog has severe anxiety, it's probably best to have the person come to your house so that all factors are consistent with their everyday life except for the people. What's even better is if you know someone trustworthy that has a dog and that your dogs are both really good friends with, because that way your dog has the familiar people taking care of them, but they also have a really great friend. For example, Mochi, my dog, is going to be staying with his two best friends, two huskies, for 4 days in the summer, and I honestly think Mochi will be having too much fun to even notice that I'm gone. But if your dog is not so extroverted and prefers spending time alone, make sure to respect that and find somewhere without a dog. Now, if you don't know available people personally, and I know this is the case for a lot of people, especially if you move away from, where your family lives or your friends live, then other options would include a dog boarding kennel or a dog sitter. I would recommend finding a professional dog sitter over a kennel any day, and meeting them a few times before the day of actually going to stay with them. Because in kennels, your dog usually has to stay in literally a kennel for the majority of the time, and even if they're really great staff, I just don't find that the best option. And also, it's really easy to find a dog sitter these days through apps like Wag or Rover and see a bunch of their reviews and recommendations, so kennels should be, in my opinion, a last resort. But make sure that if you do go with finding a dog sitter online, to do a lot of heavy research. I personally used to be a dog sitter, a dog walker on those apps, but I know there are a lot of not so good people, so just make sure you meet them a few times before you actually trust them with your dog, and also to read other clients' reviews on them. Another thing to consider when choosing where to leave your dog is the environment. For example, it would be amazing if the person watching your dog has a fenced-in backyard. That way your dog can get plenty of off-leash time without you having to worry about them going somewhere, letting your dog off leash and them running away. Also, if your dog is used to a suburban or rural home and the dog sitter is in the middle of, a very busy city, that's probably not the right choice in terms of alleviating your dog's anxieties. Okay, so once you've actually decided where your dog will stay, we can start preparing our dogs for when you have to leave them behind. First and foremost, familiarize your dog with their caretaker for the time period. If it's already someone you see all the time and your dog loves them, then great, you can skip this step. But if it's someone you rarely see or see only outdoors once in a while, definitely set up some times to have that person come over, or you go to their house so they can get to know each other in indoors environment, because that's the majority of what it's going to be. And while familiarizing your dog with this caretaker, also have the caretaker, for example, hand your dog some treats or play with them. Just create a lot of positive associations and great memories. This way, when it comes time for your dog to actually stay with them and you leaving them, your dog will actually be happy to be with them. The next step is to do some short trials. So if you plan on leaving your dog for a week in their home, for example, in the weeks leading up to that time, have your dog do like a trial sleepover or even like a trial 30-minute stay at their house without you. During these trial runs, ask your sitter to give your dog enrichment toys like a Kong or a lot of treats or licky mats, or ask them to play with your dog. Again, we want to create purely positive associations. Basically, you want to take baby steps to get your dog used to staying with this person. But not only that, you're also enforcing in your dog's brain that you'll always come back. So if you do a trial period for 30 minutes of your dog going to that person's house, then your dog will know that after that time you come back. Next time your dog might be doing a trial sleepover at that person's house, but your dog will still see that you come back the next morning. You want to drill into your dog's mind that this is just temporary when he goes to this person's house. Dogs' perceptions of time might be different than ours, but they'll still feel the long period of time without you and may feel abandoned if you just dump them somewhere for 7 days without actually doing a trial. Next, you want to prepare something super familiar for your dog to take with them when they go boarding or go, for that sleepover. If the sitter is staying in your home, you don't have to do this step, but if your dog is going to be anywhere other than their own home, you should pack something like their doggy bed, which is obviously super familiar to your dog, or better yet, their crate. So when Mochi's going to be staying with the huskies, he's going to be taking his crate, because then he'll have a little safe haven that he always considers a safe haven here with him at this boarding time. What's even better also is you could put something in their crate or their bed that smells like you, like a blanket or a t-shirt. Your dog will take great comfort in having something in that home with them, especially if it smells like their owners, you guys. On the day of dropping your dog off, make sure to give your dog plenty of exercise right before. This way, when you leave, your dog will be tired, and as we always say, a tired dog is a happy dog. If your dog is so tired that all he could do at first is just chill and take a nap, that already creates a relaxing association with this experience of, staying at someone else's home, and your dog can ease into getting comfortable. Speaking of dropping off, do not make a big deal about you leaving your dog behind. Trust me, I know exactly how devastating and emotional it could be to even leave your dog for a few hours. I used to cry every single time I would leave my family dog when my family would go on vacation. But looking back, I wish I didn't do that, because doing this only makes the experience more sad and stressful for your dog. If you're like sobbing and giving him 1,000 hugs and kisses saying goodbye, then your dog is going to start panicking and think like, oh my god, what's happening? So just give them a quick kiss and an I love you if you want to, and get out without making a big deal. This way your dog won't think it's a big deal either. And finally, practice leaving your dog home alone. This should be something you already do to prevent general separation anxiety anyway, but especially if you know you have a trip coming up, frequently go out for a few minutes at a time and come back to see that your dog can survive without you and that you'll always come back. Now that you know how to prepare your dog to have an awesome time while you go away and have fun, check out the video linked here on the screen on how to take your dog's recall from good to amazing.